Hello lovely humans, how are you doing tonight? I'm back with another video and I'm really excited about this one. I kind of did this really spontaneously, but I've been excited about it because it's a project that I've had in the works for a while. Today is a much needed day for coffee because it is pretty gloomy out there, so I am really enjoying this cup right now. But anyway, I want to introduce you guys all to my own original webcomic, Sprite Forest. I talked on this channel quite a bit about wanting to start my own webcomic, and if any of you have seen, a few weeks ago I made a video about an old comic I wrote when I was younger called Knick-Knack. I will link it right below so you can check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I mentioned that if you guys liked the characters that I might revamp them and turn it into something new, and I've done that. So in this video, I just want to show you guys all of the original so far character concepts and explain to you guys a little bit about them, and I would just love to hear some opinions from you. Now, these character concepts and designs are pretty much permanent, probably not completely, but I thought it would be really cool to kind of involve you guys in the development process. And I know that might sound kind of weird and like I'm really like putting myself out there, but that's kind of the whole point of this video anyway. So Sprite Forest, basically, to give you a quick synopsis, is about a forest called Sprite Forest and the creatures that inhabit it. Now, each creature is an actual sprite, which means that they are a specific sprite of a certain kind and they have a duty that they have to discover. And there are two different kinds of sprites. There are elemental sprites, which basically rule over a certain actual tangible physical part of the forest. And then there are sprites that help other sprites feel certain emotions and feel empowered. Those are the two different kinds that I came up with. Now, once again, this is very rough. This is very much like the basic storyline outline of what I want this to be. It is no way permanent. I just don't feel ashamed or scared to share that with you guys. So let's get started with the characters. So this is Nick. He is the sprite of activity and energy, or the sprite of activity and parties. He is very active, full of energy, very optimistic, likes to make the other sprites feel determined and like they could do anything. And he organizes lots of activities and parties and events around the forest. That's kind of his thing. Whenever something's going on, Nick has an idea of a way to make it super cool and super fun. Certain sprites also have certain abilities, and I came up with the idea that I thought would be kind of cute, that Nick actually has the ability to make a magic DJ booth appear, and he DJs all of these events using nothing but magic. So I thought that would be a cool little fun detail. He's obviously the cool guy, the protagonist, the one with all the spunk, but sometimes his mischievous behavior gets him into trouble. Not all characters are perfect. He is also the older brother of Knack. Knack is the spirit of sweet treats and creativity. He is a chef and a cook, and he uses his cooking to help other sprites in the forest. Now, his cooking has magical powers, so he could use it to heal sprites that might be feeling sick, he could use it to make sprites that feel sad feel happy, or he could just use it to make sprites enjoy a really good meal. Knack is a little bit more docile than Nick. He kind of is more in touch with his sort of soft, sensitive side, and he really is more emotional, but also loves to learn. He loves learning about new facts, new recipes, new anything. He just loves to get his little paws on that knowledge. And whenever Nick goes off the rails and is a little bit too crazy, Knack is there to calm him, comfort him, and help him get recentered. This is Whirls, as you might remember from the initial video that I made. He is the sprite of art, of course. He is an artist. He takes a lot of pride in his work, and sometimes he can make paintings that actually move around the forest. So obviously his magical powers are very art-based. Whirls is very selective with who he hangs out with. They have to have a certain level of sophistication, so he can be a little pretentious, but at the end of the day, he is a really good guy. And you see Whirls break down a few times and his weaknesses become exposed. But even though he does have a very sophisticated sort of temperament about him, he's also secretly kind of a little neurotic and nervous about things, and he hides that. Whirls is Nick and Knack's neighbor, and he has his own pond where he does a lot of his artwork. This is Lamachi Marengu, who you were introduced to as well in the first video. She lives in the field of lemon flowers, and she is the sprite of lemon flowers and light. So she helps flowers grow, she oversees it, and if she didn't live in that field and oversee those flowers, the fields would be no more. Lamachi is super sweet, super caring, and very, very passionate about nature. She is one of the more elemental sprites, as I mentioned, instead of emotional, so she literally helps keep flowers alive. She also has the ability to shoot sunlight rays out of that lemon looking thing on her head, which is actually based off a lemon meringue cookie, by the way. Fun fact, I used to like those when I was a kid. And she uses them to help any plant that might need it. She is super down to earth. I would say she's kind of our Zen hippie type girl character out of all of them. But ultimately she's a little bit of a tomboy. She's not afraid to get dirty. She's not afraid to go on adventures, and that's why she loves hanging out with Nick and Knack, and they think she's really cool to hang out with. This character is the turnip god. Speaking of Zen hippie characters, actually, I take that back. He is the most Zen one. He is literally the god of sprouts and the soil. And fun fact, because when I start the webcomic, I'm going to start it with a whole new plot point. The thing that fell from the sky at the end of the last comic was the turnip god. He actually was from another planet, but the Sprite Forest needed him. So he kind of comes and arrives in the Sprite Forest. He is really funny because he's super chilled out, kind of like the cool dude. And whenever other characters are panicking over something, you can count on the turnip god to be like, hey, listen, it's not that big of a deal. Take a few deep breaths. I got this. He has a lot of really cool powers too that I'm excited to explore in the webcomic. Okay, moving on. This is Sir Pookie. I could not use that name. It's hilarious. He is, if we had an antagonist here, he would be the antagonist. He is the sprite of poison. So he basically is in control of all of the poisonous plants in the forest. He's very much night-based. He comes out a lot at night, so he lives in kind of a spooky part of the Sprite Forest. But at the end of the day, Sir Pookie just has to do his job. He kind of likes to screw around with Nick and Knack a little bit. He plays pranks on them. He is, in a way, an evil character, but I kind of want my goal for him to be that even though he's evil, he's not totally evil. He still sometimes caves and hangs out with the rest of the sprites. I really am always attracted to villains that are two-dimensional. If there's ever a villain that is just like pure evil, I feel like that gets boring. When you see that they have layers and more sides to them, I feel like that makes a truly great villain. So that's what I plan on doing with him. This is Lady Cherry. She is the sprite of healing and caring. She is basically just like everyone's mom, and she lives in basically the, I don't want to say hospital, but it's like a care center of the forest. So if any of the sprites are sick or sad or just need some love, you could go to Lady Cherry and she will help you out. She's super sweet, super calm, super caring. I want her to be really good friends with Knack. I feel like they would hit it off and hang out together and have like baking parties together or something. And I just love her design. I think she's really cute. I think she's kind of, she reminds me a little bit of a nurse. I kind of had some Nurse Joy inspiration from this, in case you couldn't tell, totally, not gonna lie. And the little heart guy next to her is Heartstrings. That's her little helper, and he is sassy, okay? He might be a heart, but he has got an attitude, and I just like little sidekick characters with attitude, so that's my plan for him. But she never gets mad at him, because Lady Cherry literally never gets mad. These last two characters are a little more underdeveloped. They are sort of a subplot line. Well, not really. I came up with an idea that there's going to be certain characters that compete in certain competitions, especially the emotional based ones in certain shows. So these characters, I don't want to say that they're like pageant girls, but I've kind of been a little bit inspired by performances. Think like Pop Idol in an anime kind of thing. So these two characters are going to be sort of in this competition that I'm planning. This first one is Twinkles. She is basically going to be a sprite that puts on beautiful performances for other sprites and makes them feel certain emotions, mostly happy-based emotions based on her performance. So she is very optimistic, radiates that positivity, and she is all about putting on a great show. This character, this mermaid character, I'm still trying to figure out a name for her, and she also puts on a show but underwater. And that's going to convey, and I think her show would convey more sensitive emotions, so Marina and Twinkles are gonna have an interesting relationship, so we'll see how that develops. So that is it for the characters of Sprite Forest. Let me know if you guys think this sounds interesting. Let me know if you're excited. Give feedback. I will not be upset. I won't be sensitive. I want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear some criticism. I want to hear what you like. I want to hear what you're iffy about. Just comment below, help me out. And I'm really excited about this. I had fun sharing it with you guys. And if you want to see the original knick-knack video, what inspired all of this in the first place, click the link below in the description. And yeah, I will see you guys next time on Kelly True Thoughts. Have a lovely, lovely night.